Well, fellas, welcome back. Ghost Stories, we're back, back live in action right now.
Yeah.
Couple weeks off, we've been traveling a little bit. The
lot going on.
fall got a little crazy out of nowhere. So
What episode is this?
This is 6.
Wow.
This is 6. We have about 25 kind of pre-planned, and then a lot more. This is episode 5. The producer Wiz says this is episode 5.
Wiz.
So yeah, episode
Just
5.
keeping you on your toes, Wiz.
Not a baby. Way to contribute.
Yeah.
So what I want to do, normally we kind of hit the DM, the question. I'm not going to answer a specific question today. We will get to them.
Yep.
But this is kind of perfect because a lot of the different questions we had were, hey, we're heading into the off season. So what can we do? I only have one more weekend left, and it kind of gives me an opportunity to talk about Saturday. So as you guys know, we had a showcase camp at University of Rhode Island.
Amazing field.
Yeah. So cool thing about that, the turf was put down Friday night.
Really?
We played Saturday. Wow. So
we were the first in the.
Well, so Holy Cross and
Okay.
URI played the full double header Saturday morning, so we got to watch that. And the opportunity to shout out Coach Serrato, one of the better guys in the country as far as baseball goes, as far as just being a good dude, and just loves the game. Yep. And he built a staff around that. Coach Fish, I got to meet Coach Bo, so really appreciate them. Yeah. Put us on their turf and bringing some energy after a 2-7-inning doubleheader against Holy Cross.
How was URI versus Holy Cross game?
So that's what I'm going to get at, right? Yeah. So these kids are all asking about the offseason. So number one is physicality, right? Everyone keeps saying it, and these kids and the parents too, get to a college baseball game. D1, D2, D3, national, it doesn't matter. It's the physicality. So maybe the levels might change some physicality, right? The depth. But they hand out the roster at URI, and I don't think there was a kid under 180. And it's not even that, and this is cool for me to see too, but it's not even, really wasn't height. It wasn't everyone 6'4", 6'3". Maybe Wake has something along those lines. But URI goes toe-to-toe with those schools, but it was 185 pounds. Yep. It was physicality. It was, being able to handle everything on a baseball field like a grown-up. Yep. And the cool thing was a lot of the top arms were shut down because the end of the fall. So you didn't see their 1, 2, 3s really. Yeah. But we did get to see a lot of sophomores and freshmen. And even if the velo wasn't 92, 93 yet, you just saw in a year or two it will be that. Yeah. It was all about spinning. That's one of the things that him and that Serrato and Coach Fish, who's a phenomenal pitching coach, are talking about. Like, hey, just like every hitter can kind of hit a fastball, every pitcher in this level can throw a fastball. Yeah. Can you locate it, and then can you spin off of it? Yeah. And, they had their track man, and Coach Bo is a wizard at understanding that kind of stuff. And we dive a little bit into analytics. I don't love it, but I like when you use it correctly. I feel like they're doing a good job using it correctly.
Yeah, so faster that ball spins, it's a lot harder to hit.
There's a lot of feedback with it.
There is.
But you don't want to get – I don't like to get too obsessed with it, but there's some things that can certainly help out.
Right.
Help
you
out
can't
a hitter.
See that with the naked eye.
Help out a pitcher and stuff like that.
That's one of the things that I notice about some of these programs too is they are starting to blend it, right? Yep. Serrato's let's go play baseball. Let's get our bunt down. Let's hit and run. We're trying to win, right? Yep. But now he has a little bit of extra thing, and he'll pick and choose. Okay, I can see why this works. Okay, Bo, good job. Coach Bo, I see why you see that.
Yeah, he might use those numbers for different situations. Like use those kids.
Exactly.
If he needs a strikeout, that kid's slider spins more. He's gonna put him in.
Yep. And just answer questions. We talked about and I'll shout him out. We talked about Merrick Williams. He's been on a 2-year run that I've never had as a pitcher. Just against the best teams, and he's 81. Yeah. He's not 89. He's not 82.
You're going to get out of him, and he's a bulldog out there.
But even besides some of the intangibles, now I'm even I was excited about him to throw there, and they're like, oh, his late life is there. It shows it in the spin rate, and that's
going
crazy.
In.
But his late life,
because you've seen that,
we see it.
Now you have numbers to back it up.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden, schools that may not. That 81 is playing up, not just to us, but to even some of these schools. So
+4.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, exactly. It
Inside
was cool
fastball looks harder, and
Yeah.
especially with this 2-seam going in, it's
so
hard to hit.
Just going off that, what do you think the first thing the college coaches look at is physicality?
It is.
Because I really think we have to preach that.
Yeah, we do, and you know what? Pretty cool. This is kind of a shameless plug. I wasn't even thinking about this, but we've collaborated with, in my opinion, one of the best in the industry with Onyx at Speed Island. Yeah. And we're going to have an additional kind of like pre-off-season workout program on Saturdays, in November, December. Yeah. And I'm encouraging my players to do it. I'm excited about it. And, we have guys that are $140, $150 that can ball. Dude, you're 150 pounds. You're 140 pounds.
What's Onyx going to be doing with them there?
A lot of strength stuff, like teaching the proper movements. And he's going to get after it. I mean, this is a guy that trains, all world athletes. Yeah. And we're kind of, me and Ski had a meeting with him, and this dude is energy through the roof.
Passion. One word I'm just passionate about.
That's what you need.
He gets a guy in, and he wants to work with you, and he wants you to get to that next level, and that's what we love about him.
And like we talked, he wants the guys to get stronger and keep their speed, or even increase their speed. I'm like, all right, we're trying to build an athlete here. I love this. Yeah. So I'm actually really fired up for that program. Yeah. So for
where's
everyone
that
listening.
going to be?
At Coleman.
Coleman.
Yeah, we have the whole turf. We're going to bring
Nice.
weights. We have a whole list building of what type of things we want to bring.
No, yeah. Everyone should go to that.
Everybody should.
Sign up. Get in before slots fill up.
Yeah. So shameless plug. That all kind of happened
Yeah,
naturally.
because you could be the
that's
best
pretty cool.
baseball player in the world, but if you're not physical, they're not going to even look at you twice.
Yeah, correct.
Unfortunately.
Yep. So that was the first thing I noticed about the URI Holocaust game, right? It's physicality.
And I think St. John's played Wake Forest.
Yep.
St. John's.
I heard this. I read the
I saw a
exact same
post.
thing.
I think the Division
Yeah,
High School baseball
phenomenal
coach made a
post.
post on it.
Phenomenal
He said he didn't
post.
see a sick other kid under 6'2" on
Yeah.
the field for Wake
Right,
Forest.
and that's what I said.
Which
So
is crazy.
Wake might get that, and then
Yeah.
he actually even said something along the lines of like, "Yeah, I saw a bunch of '90s. It wasn't exactly pretty
Yeah.
words."
Yeah.
And similar to what I saw there, so many kids that were overthrowing you. The radar gun lit up, but it was a 3-1
I know,
count all the time.
but who are they going to give a scholarship? The kid throwing 94
They're gonna try to
wild,
build that,
or the kid 82 consistent
yeah,
located?
and
That's the sad part about it.
it is. And what's happening with a lot of the programs though, they're trying to do both.
Yeah.
They are. They're trying to hit that 94 kid right away in the recruitment process, and then they're going to try to wait on a Merrick Williams and say, "This kid can pitch.
Yeah.
I know he can pitch. So let me see what the process looks like. Let me see what the portal looks like." And that's what some of these 26s are dealing with.
Because they think they could teach a kid a locate more than to teach him a kid.
Yeah,
how to throw
Once you're in
the field.
college, you just want outs. You want a
Yeah.
guy out there
Well,
who's
so-
going to get you
Yep.
plenty of outs.
Serato ended our game, and we had an awesome scrimmage up there against a PSL program that we haven't even talked about yet. They were phenomenal. What great kids! They grinded, they balled.
That's
They had
City
about-
League.
It's a City
Yeah.
Rhode Island team, yeah, and they had 3 kids up in the 89, 90 miles an hour
Yeah.
range. So 25s, 26s, so we're a
Yeah.
little on the younger side, but we competed. I loved it.
Yeah.
We had some Ghost National kids. Shout out to them. Kid Dylan, he dialed up to 89. He's gonna get
Maverick
some real
Schneider
looks.
told me he caught a kid that was 89.
Yeah, Dylan. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mav caught Dylan. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. And did a good job.
Yeah.
He received it really, really well. Proud of him for that. So that physicality and everything like that is so it was so important. It was so clear to see.
Yeah.
And then
Did you watch the batting practice there?
we didn't see BP.
That's the best part.
So we talked about the IO though, clean
Yeah.
and crisp, and that's what I was getting at. So Serato at the end of that game kind of said to everybody like, we at this point now we actually are trying to like avoid a little bit of the showcase guys though. It's like,
Nice.
and he goes, look, our job is it's to win, guys. I need guys that can bring something to win and something that can contribute to a win.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Coach Fisher had a saying that they use, and sorry, Coach Fish, for kind of robbing you here, but he goes, "We want energy givers, not energy takers."
Yeah,
And
that's
it's
huge.
awesome, right? Like
Yeah.
that's really, really cool. Like I need guys that are going to give off positive vibes, positive energy. We want to win, and that was what we talked about earlier today. And I said to you too, though.
Yeah.
Additional to the physicality, man, it was such a refreshing love of the game.
The
But
environment.
these 2 Division I programs in a meaningless doubleheader. Now, for some kids fighting for some playing time, maybe
Yeah.
early in their careers or whatever, so everyone's grinding it. But to see not a single kid sat down for 2 games in a fall
When
Saturday
the
game.
kid scores, they're all
dude,
doing
yeah.
their dance and
Every-
stuff
There's
like
no like
that.
yelling back and forth.
It's-
It's cheering for your old guy.
So that's
pulling for
I
each
noticed
other.
that too. There was 0 opposing chirps. It was
Yeah.
straight up like good take, like they got to hit, let's go,
Yeah,
like
because-
good pitch.
And we know why that is, because
Yeah.
at that level, they're
Yeah.
not
You can
scared to throw up and in.
Right, exactly. They're
Yep.
exactly right, JT. They can police their set
Yep.
themselves. It isn't this nonsense Long Island chirping back and forth of just crap. It
Yeah.
isn't. It isn't. It's legit baseball. It was so cool to see. It was awesome to see. And yeah, that pure love of the game, man. It scares me that some kids in this industry, I'm good. I'm gonna play baseball. I don't love this though. And it was just beautiful to see 2 Division I programs.
And that's
just
why
love
we
it.
preach so much. When a kid gets a sack fly, you better be getting up. You better be
Dude,
congratulating
sack
that.
butt. I blow my mind. It blows my
Because
mind.
how excited
Yeah.
are they
Yeah.
when they get it done?
There,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and the last part of all of this, and this is also such a good segue into our next guest, because in my opinion,
Yeah, Labita, you still there?
yeah, right.
You guys are running it.
Yeah,
I got some stuff logged.
Yeah, there you go.
So don't worry. Yeah, don't worry. I got you.
yeah, but
Yeah.
all kidding. I mean, this is a dude that's physically does things the right way, so it kind of transitions well. But there was a moment in the second game, so it's the second inning of game 2 of
And
this.
how long they've been there for, probably?
Man,
5, 6 hours.
5 hours by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and kid skies the fly ball, skies it, just misses it. I hate to say it because I'm trying to be a better coach. I'm trying to get better and not allow my kids to think this is okay. But there was no bat toss. There was no slam. There was no curse word. Instead,
He's trying to get the
That-
second before he caught
JT,
it.
that center fielder is a stud.
Yep.
Absolute stud. He will probably get that fly ball 1,000 times in his
Yep.
career. He's going to drop it one time. You know when he dropped it? Right then and there. Do you know that hitter almost got back picked because he
Oh, he
ran
dropped
so
it?
hard? He
Yeah.
dropped it, JT.
No
This
way.
Division I center fielder,
Yeah.
again, 1,000 times he's going to catch it, 999. That hitter was prepared for that one random, for no reason,
Yep.
time he's going to drop it. And actually rounded second so hard from running so hard that he almost got back picked.
Wow,
Love
that's
that.
awesome.
But what happens? Everyone here goes nuts. Like, oh, great job. Let's go. And what do you think happens? Literally the next pitch, little bloop single over first
scores
base,
him,
and we got to run.
Baseball gods, baby.
And aren't we trying to score runs here? What am I missing? That's what we're trying to do, right? So if you,
and
my kids hear it. I tell them all the time, if you are not obsessed with the once a year play, which is that's only going to happen once a year. That's
level.
How
you stand out.
That's sometimes wins
out.
games.
Yeah.
That's the.
And if they do that, and the Rhode Island coach is there, that's going to stick out to him more than him hitting the double in the gap.
This kid hustles. This kid loves to be here. He
loves to be here. Loves to be here.
He's an energy, you call it, giver?
He's an energy giver, baby.
Yeah.
Yep, he's giving energy and also no one's too cool. Everyone's too cool around here.
Yeah.
No one's too cool to be cheering just regular takes. And you have the pitching coach dialed into every pitch. And he gave me a lot of props, which is cool. I always like to, sometimes it's nice to get some like kind of security to what you're saying. But I was talking to one of my guys, and he threw 2 backup sliders, and you see him say, "Oh, come on!" I'm like, dude, use that. Yeah. So you just threw 2 backup sliders, throw a better one, or go to the outside black now, or don't use it for a reason. And coach is like, "Oh, we tell our pitchers all the time, like every pitch is a reason for it. So you miss a spot here, you can still learn something from it." So it was just so refreshing
and if he
to see
throws
guys
2
that love the
backup
game.
sliders, the hitter's not going to believe another one's coming.
Exactly right.
And then if you execute that, it's a well.
But instead, what do our kids do? Oh, my slider's not here. Here's my fastball. It's a double on. I have it today. I'm like, no, why would you not throw it again? Like, what are we doing? So anyway, just like to shout out to that. It was a great experience, great day.
Physicality,
physicality, maturity, and the love of the game, man. Like it's kind
Speaking
of like
of physical, look at this guy.
Yeah, so welcome, Aaron, welcome, baby.
I don't have the drug test this guy.
Yeah, right. So excited to have you on. One of my dudes again. So excited to kind of run through this a little bit. So let's start right from the get go. We were talking a little bit off air. When did you think you first got seen a little bit from some coaches and went through that process? How did that start for you?
So I first got seen at the Pace Showcase. Shout out to Mike. Shout out to Evan. Shout out to all the coaches. I always tell the guys whenever I'm coaching, take advantage of that showcase because there's about 30 to 40 schools there, right? How many schools
somewhere. Oh, the B1 showcase.
Yeah,
that's what Pace was, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
where was that?
That one was at
Eisenhower.
Yeah. So that one probably had
most
30
of it
schools.
has,
Yeah, we're somewhere between 25, 35 schools.
What year was that? 2019?
That might have been 18.
I think.
The first one was 18.
It was my sophomore going into my junior year. I got seen by a couple schools. Pace was the first school to actually invite me to their prospect
and
camp.
Really show love.
Yeah.
They loved you from the get.
First school to show me love. Went to their prospect camp, had a good day, and then I was in touch with them pretty much the whole winter.
Yeah.
So they were kind of like my safety plan. And then going into my senior year, like that summer, obviously that's when recruiting heats up. Right. And did a couple showcases at New York Tech. I think it was the Blue Chip showcase. And then went to Sacred Heart. We had like a team event there. And
that was our team camp.
Yeah.
That was
cool.
I think that was the infamous Jake Frere camp too, right? That's when Jake Frere was there. Got the offer from Mitchell just from the arm fade. That's what we talked about a couple showcases. I forgot that was a big one for you as well.
So yeah, definitely an exciting time. But what I always tell guys is just to have fun with it. I remember being like so stressed, but you got to realize that those coaches want you, like they want to bring you into their program. Like you're the one that's selling yourself. So don't be scared to talk to them. Like they're just regular dudes.
And we were talking about it. Like you are a little more on the conventional, right? You had the physicality, you had the work ethic. Lefty bat, righty arm. We were joking. Yep. It wasn't really a joke, but you dialed up to 89 by accident on the mound at certain points. Like there were so many physical tools to you that schools are going to love you at first sight. Then they're going to follow you and see you do the right thing. You do run the field all the time. You were one of the guys that would if Lambert made a last out, you're bringing out his stuff. Like you were bringing like that kind of big boy vibe to the club. So you were conventional. You were out in front of everybody. You didn't have to do a billion different things. So you kind of referenced Pace being like maybe your safety school, right. But really what it was is that was just your first school. So it's like, maybe, I don't know if I'm in love with the first school I see. Right. And I know we went through the process. And tell us some of the other schools that you had interest in, that it showed interest in you. And then let's get back to how you ended up at Pace.
Right. So I had offers and visited Pace, Adelphi, New Haven, Malloy, Hofstra, and then kind of Sacred Heart. We talked about it a little before. So during the team event at Sacred Heart, I was talking to Wayne Mazzoni. Great guy.
Yep.
Wanted to go to Sacred Heart, and we kind of had a conversation, and he was like, you should maybe go to a D2 where you're going to play right away and be the guy rather than come here and wait till you're like your junior year to play maybe.
That's
so that was kind of
told you that.
Yeah, I mean that
going to Sacred Heart, Wayne's an awesome guy.
Yeah,
he's down to earth.
Awesome
He'll be honest with you, and he's a dad. He has kids and he knows how to.
Yeah, because some coaches will sell you on you're going to play. And then
especially a guy with your ceiling.
So,
imagine a guy with his ceiling.
Special shout out to him. I mean, that was definitely humbling. I know I was really upset about it,
And
but
you're a
it
young
kinda,
kid at this time.
Yeah,
It's
I was
a lot to take in.
I was 17.
Like, what do I mean? I'm not gonna play.
Yeah, it humbled me.
And
but-
everyone else is dying to get you, and this
Right,
the one
so-
school you're thinking you want to go to is like,
humbled
hey,
me, and I was kind of pissed, but it kind of lit a fire under me.
Yeah.
Like, I want to ball at those schools just
Right.
to
prove
prove him wrong in a way, like positive way.
Yeah.
Prove yourself right.
But yeah, I'm glad with my decision.
Yeah, well, so
obviously.
now we fast forward, and we had the infamous night. Get to your house, sit down with your family at the kitchen table.
Yeah,
I think I was more nervous than you were. I had a lot of just personal interest in it, like I do with all our guys, and you guys are now really going through a big time.
obviously choosing between New Haven.
Well, throw my alma mater in there. And I love that. Obviously, I love that program, and that's near and dear to me. But it was unique to see you actually look through each school and give your reasons. And we kind of said if you had natural reasons of why that school didn't fit you, whether it was the surrounding area, the campus, whatever, we were like, hey, get rid of it. Like, let's narrow it down. I think we wound up getting it down to New Haven, Pace, and Hofstra.
Yeah.
And the Hofstra thing was unique, right? You said they came in kind of late in the game.
Literally the day before I committed, I got a call from my high school coach saying that he talked to the Hofstra guy and he wanted to give me a visit the day after.
Right.
And we were flying out to Arizona. I think it was Thursday morning.
Yep.
And Wednesday, with my bags packed, I went to Hofstra. And actually, cool story, he didn't even see me play. He just heard, based off of my reputation of being a good kid, guy who worked hard. He talked to my high school coaches that he wanted to give me an offer without even seeing me play, which I was mind blown by because I'm nervous. I'm stretching out, taking a million swings the morning before getting ready, and then I didn't even have to showcase myself.
But you did mention something else, though. Your academics were really big in that, especially in that specific situation. Because what these kids have to understand is, and you mentioned, they know I'm a good kid, right? Well, if your grades also reflect that, they have so little to worry about, right? If you go there and you have the grades, they're not worried about putting you on probation, not worried about you failing out of class. You're probably a guy that can handle your social life without interfering with your professional life at that point.
Exactly.
So it was cool for you to even recognize, like, hey, my academics had a lot to do with it there. So the Hofstra thing came in late. That's a wild thing. But now what's everyone going to say? Oh, wait, you chose a D2 school over D1 school?
Yeah.
Well, we narrowed it down, and of course, selfishly, New Haven was, hey, go here. But what was one thing that said to you? Pace was on you from the get-go. And what did we talk about?
Yeah, we
go
talked
somewhere
about them,
but go somewhere where you're
wants you.
loved. Go somewhere that wants you.
So Mike talks about all the time. When I was being recruited, Mike always said, go where you're going to play, go where you're loved.
Yep. And shout out to Pace for doing it the right way, man. And I love it because your experience there has been great. So your safety school turned out to be your first love and didn't even realize it. And that's really cool because that's not, as conventional as your story kind of was, this all of a sudden actually becomes unconventional. Like, that first school that loved you from the get-go, saw you about the border, reached out to me, all of a sudden is now the school that you're, shining at. So now let's have some fun with this because we're talking about this a little bit. You are now going into your senior year. Grad year. So I think that's a senior year. That's a senior year. So
super senior.
Now with COVID and everything, it's not.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, I don't even know how old you are, but it's all good. So now last year had a great year. Won all conference as a quote unquote third baseman, all region as a quote unquote third baseman. The reason I'm saying quote unquote is why, and you mentioned it before about being versatile, off air. Explain to everybody, what your season looked like and how even the team success and then what you're looking forward to moving forward.
Right. So I played third the first game, and our second baseman pulled a hammy. So literally the second game of a doubleheader, I got moved to second base. And then I would say a month later, I was having some back issues, whatever, and then was actually able to play first and third a little bit. So really what's kept me in the lineup since really my freshman year, sophomore year, was being able to play anywhere.
Yeah.
Pretty much every day in practice, it's Labita go to third, Labita go to short, Labita go to second. So, I've started probably most of my games at third now, but my sophomore year, I play games at short, I play games at second.
I'm
now,
sure your coach loves that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, especially a lefty stick that can bop and everything like that. So that's the other part of it too, right? If you hit, they'll find places to play.
Right,
but you're different though because you're not a below average infielder all those spots. You're actually an above average infielder all those spots. But that's a testament to your hard work. And and I'm sure a million people like I do that were shortstop. I mean, again, I was an all-state shortstop, and I didn't play shortstop in college. Even though I had the most games played ever, I didn't play shortstop until my junior year. Yeah. So even though I was playing second base and everything, I was, people were coming up to me just like they probably did to you. Why do you choose Division II over Division I? And why? Dude, this is the right fit for me. And maybe a Hofstra doesn't give you the opportunity to move around like that. And you played shortstop a lot for me. But then we got you some reps at third, and we had ballers, so it wasn't like we needed you there, but we needed to get you something there. So it's awesome to see. I mean, this kid's got to understand,
also
you're playing
too,
multiple
knowing
positions.
your role too. I mean, my sophomore year was because my first year I was hurt. So my sophomore year, really, I didn't have like the best hitting year. But me and our shortstop knew that our role was just to play defense. Like my pitching coach would come up to me every day. He says, I don't care if you get a hit. If you turn double plays with my guys, you're going to stay in the lineup. Sure. So if you're a younger guy and you play good defense, like, don't let your ego hurt you because you're not hitting. Humble yourself a little bit and say, I just have to help the team. If I'm going to play great defense, that's my job, and I'm going to do that to the best of my ability.
Your pitching staff was tremendous too, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, protecting them.
So, and that's a flip side. So your defense kept you in the lineup long enough for you to just understand the speed of
define your stick.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, the NA10 can. That's borderline Division I baseball. Let's call it. All those top dudes can play at any Division I school in the Northeast, and those are the weekend guys you're seeing. Definitely. So it's not a surprise that it took you a year, so especially after missing a year with an injury, to really all right, this is only 86, but man, it's got sync to it. Like I remember talking to you about just approach and all that kind of stuff, and it was cool to see you finally walk away a little bit from being so mechanical and obsessed with all your movements. So, what's my approach? How do I hit a guy that could spin it and then fade it on me? And it was a lot of fun talking through approach with you and then seeing it start to finally kind of come together. That's awesome.
Definitely growing mentally. I mean, it's a long season, as you know, too. And you were talking about the physical part, too, how much you have to prepare not only mentally but physically, because, these high school kids don't realize you're going to play 40 to 50 games, and then
you got a whole fall season too.
I'm going to go right into summer ball. Right. My season this year ended on a Thursday. I had to be in North Carolina Friday.
Right.
Yep.
So if I'm not
playing Friday,
and I was on a tryout too, so I couldn't be milking it. So if I'm not prepared physically to play for 6 months and then go into the fall, like he just said, you're gonna.
And go into the difference between your approach in high school hitting compared to college.
It's a really good question.
Yeah.
Because I know you're so detailed in this. We've talked about this many times. High school, you could just go up there and swing. College,
high school,
you really can't.
You can get away with a lot in high school, I would say. College, I mean, there's no real way to guess. I've tried to figure out how different teams attack me, but you might get any pitch in any count. So really being adjustable is more what I tried to train in my swing rather than being the most powerful.
I know we talk about getting that barrel in the zone long.
Fastball, curveball, changeup, sink, different situations, knowing how to go,
ready for
go away, and then all of a sudden curveball, and then they try to throw it in. You got to be ready for everything. Mentally too. I would say, like we were talking about it, a long season. You're going to go through a lot of ups and downs. So I feel like that's the biggest way that I've grown in my 5 years, is not letting, like a 0 for 7 affect me. If I'm going to get 200 at bats in a season, if you have a bad 2 or 3 games, if you're in your head,
that could
ruin
snowball,
the whole
spiral. So I feel like, as an older guy, that's what I try to teach the younger guys is you got to be able to flush it, because teams know your tendencies. You're going to play them 4 times in a weekend. If you're in your head after 2 at bats, you're done.
And not only that, as an older guy now that just came off a successful season, right? You guys won how did the NA10 work? You won the regular season of
we won the regular season on our division.
Of your division, there's 2 divisions. Right. So you win your regular season, so that's a successful last year. And then you guys again had a hiccup in the playoffs and whatnot. For whatever reason, the bid didn't come out your way. But so I would assume you're super hungry, which means you have these young, talented kids. You can't have them just throw away a whole Sunday doubleheader against Assumption because they're in their feelings. Right. So pace is, and this is part of the loyalty that we're trying to, even in the world of a portal, where I guarantee you, and coach is not going to love to hear this, but I guarantee if you hopped in the portal, you would have a dozen Division I schools grabbing you up in a second. But there's loyalty to it. There's unfinished business to it, and I really hope and pray that you're not the dying breed of it. I hope it stays that way. And that's kind of going back to the URI situation. That's where Serrato is too. He wants that loyalty. He wants to bring guys in, and he's aware. Hey, I might lose. I think they lost a guy. I think you said to another good Division I program, and yet they brought in a kid from Wake, so it goes both ways.
And I wonder if the Rhode Island coach is looking at kids in high school to see if they're moving. Did he say anything about that?
So he did. That's really, really good, JT. So, and again, loyalty on your end too, because, I'm sure other organizations were wanting to give you scholarships to come play for me for a summer so I can claim I got Labita to here or whatever. Right. Man, it's really important. And having a home, because what happens is these coaches don't want to call 3 different organizations and be like, hey, so he played for you 6 months ago. How was he? He played for you 3 weeks ago. How was he? They don't want that, because that's just going to scare them. They're so used to, and maybe those kids, there's certain kids that just works for that way.
Yep.
But because of how they grew up, and that's why I say I hope it doesn't die with your class and your breed, that the loyalty.
Sure, they definitely look at those tendencies and go.
They do. No, they do.
Oh, yeah.
They do, because again, there's so much talent out there that you talk about grades. Yeah, okay. If a kid's got 97 compared to a kid with an 82, not that 82 is bad, but if that's the only thing differentiating them, they're gonna go with the 97.
Oh yeah.
And same idea. If you have a kid that's been in a program with one or two coaches for 4 or 5 years that you have a good conversation with, and fortunately, I have a ton of good conversation with coaches. And listen, man, everybody knows I'm passionate about this. I love this. I like the details of the game, and I like talking approach, and I like to have arguments about analytics. But it's fun for because coaches say, okay, if that kid played with him, like if they played with Joey Tracy, when I go see a Joey Tracy game, he's locked into every minute of that game. And I know that this kid's going to be ready to compete, and there's different ways. I get my guys compete differently than you do. And when we go head to head, it's a freaking unbelievable game. And, you're right out, chasing us up with your 27-28 team. So, I'm proud of us. I'm fired up for us because I'm getting a lot of good feedback from these schools right now because they are trying to, they're learning this too, right? They're trying to dissect this whole portal thing. And what I was kind of get to with you, Ann, is have you guys lost or gained anybody in the portal? Like how has pace been in that scenario the last 2 years?
We haven't had too much action in the
Good.
portal.
That's awesome to hear.
It's
also probably why you're winning.
You guys been together for a long time.
It's also probably why you're winning.
A lot of guys stay.
Yeah, that's
almost every guy stay. Really, I would say the past
kudos to your
3 or
coaches
4
and all.
recruiting classes. I would say that I think I came in with 13 kids and maybe only 5 are left here. But I would say
because you're a super senior,
right?
Right.
I would say that the 3 or 4 classes below me, we've only really lost a few kids.
That's
maybe
awesome.
one kid a year.
And it's probably just, and again, that happened pre-portal. Kids just don't fit. All of a sudden, you want to go back home, or that happens.
Which is not common now with the portal. I know it's crazy. Like guys really, after 1 year, if they're not playing, they're leaving.
Yeah.
But
or again, just having a successful. Again, you are the prototypical or stereotypical. Hey, I'm a grad year dude. Like I have some good grades. I'm going to be an accountant. Like you could find that major or that everywhere. How would you not transfer to a D1 school? Why would you not go do this or this? Instead, again,
just loyalty.
You're winning. Like that's
and where'd you learn that loyalty?
Winning solves a lot of problems.
Yeah, winning solves a lot of problems.
You learned that from your parents.
Yeah.
From being
Definitely my parents. Definitely. We had 2. So when we won the NE10, we had 2 6th-year captains.
Yep.
So when I was a freshman, they were seniors. They came back for 2 years after that. So kind of what they built of you're 24 years old. You still want to play baseball. You still want to win.
Right.
Like, I'm going to get behind that.
Yep.
You're a great dude, obviously. Like, you want to play for your teammates. And, like, just like the example that they set was so easy to follow. And that's kind of, like,
what
the
you're
leader
hoping
that
to set.
I remember
when
I was
trying to pass down and continue what they built.
I remember when I was a 5th-year senior, we used to go to Chipotle with the freshmen, try to take care of them, and they stayed the whole time.
We would do the same thing. We go to the dining hall and make all the freshmen swipe us in, but spending quality time.
Great memories.
With
That's
these
the
kids
best memories.
Important.
Because when they're a 4th year, they're going to do
the same thing. They want to carry out.
It just carries on and on.
Yeah.
Because when I was a freshman, I still remember the kids, juniors and seniors, that took me in right away. And, like, I could always go to them. They weren't necessarily the captain, but I knew that I can go to them.
And
for
those
any
freshmen
of my
need mentors.
Oh,
it's a lot to handle.
Oh, so
it is
especially
now.
social life.
It is such a different transition from high school to college. It is huge.
What do you mean? I'm playing 50 games in a year and I have to get a good grade?
By the way, there's every type of party that's right in your face.
First time away from your
temptation.
parents too, knowing how to live on your own, all of that stuff.
And one of the things I love too about your team with us was we were together for 2.5 years, pretty much, right? That group when you came over after Smitty, I stole you from Smitty, all that good stuff. But we were really, really good. And I remember that Arizona trip, and this is kind of a fun circle back, right? Listen, we went out there kind of with the idea of maybe it's a vacation. Maybe we go 0-5 because I remember on the flight, the first team we're playing, maybe the second team we're playing was UCLA commit, Cal State Fullerton commit. They were also like a year older than us, so we were kind of playing up.
Yeah, that West Coast birthday.
But we were ready to ball, and I think we looked up like in the first game, and we're like up 3-2 in the 5th, and we're like, oh, you know what? Yo, we're out here.
Yeah,
and I think
we can play with these dudes.
And I think we finished maybe 3-4. I think we actually made the playoffs at 3-3, lost in a playoff game. And again, we spent some time in the hospital because you and Bart decided to collide there.
When I was on the mound.
Yep. But yeah, I mean that was such a really cool experience for us as a team. And then if you remember, and I don't know if we've really talked about this yet, but one of my favorite moments as a coach so far is once we got back from Arizona, we had like 36 hours before another PG event.
I remember.
And do you at
Friday
Prella.
morning we took the red eye.
Yeah, right. And we played Saturday morning, I guess, or Friday afternoon.
That was a Thursday night flight.
Oh,
and then
right.
we had a game Friday morning at 12 o'clock.
At Prella.
Stop.
At Prella. Yep.
Yeah.
So now here's the best part. We roll up. Ed Blankmeyer, old coach of St. John's, is there.
Mm-hmm.
Forget the name of
BC coach?
Yeah, the BC coach is there. I'm like, oh wow, this is powerhouse.
Yeah.
And the BC coach I had a conversation with because of Justin Dunn, because he was originally got here, and Blanky came up to me, and I knew Blanky a little bit from recruiting me. He's like, oh man, he's like, you guys got a tough draw. Like, dude, I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah.
Sure enough, they got this one dude on the mound that's 89, 91, and these are big time schools watching him.
How'd you guys compete?
Well, we just saw it for 7 games.
Yeah.
I led off Dylan Pohl. I think the first pitch of the game was 88, and it was a double down the right field line.
Like,
And we know DP's on second base well. So
you gotta hit that on Hillside Avenue.
But
I think you're listening right now.
Yes.
Sorry.
I think we put up a 3 spot in the first 2 innings, and like every coach is like, dude, I think he's let 3 runs the whole summer.
Wow.
I'm like, and that was one of those like, oh shit, well this makes sense. We just saw nothing under 85. So what's this 80? What's this 89 in Queens, man? Like, what? Get out of here.
Yeah.
So and that's where sometimes, man, and that's what we talked about 1 or 2 episodes ago. Sometimes just go play that better competition. Leave the win-loss record behind. I mean, we had a good summer. I don't remember our record. I don't know what it was.
No.
I remember those crazy games in Atlantic City with Edwards and Bassie hitting home runs. Like I remember some wild events. We lost that game, by the way. I think it was a championship game. But there were so many cool moments. But like that's one that stands out. And that came back from a 3-4 trip. Granted, not a lot of New York teams went out there and competed like that. Everybody's a lot of people are trying to find those. We talked about a little bit off air.
You can find a lot of your wins and losses.
Yeah.
A lot of that.
Yeah.
You can always find lessons learned with all your experiences and stuff like that. And you guys going to Arizona and then come back to Long Island. Yeah.
And didn't just that was such a cool moment. A kid that for sure a week before Arizona probably would have shoved against us just like he did against everyone else in the Northeast.
Where was that? Who was that kid?
I don't remember his name. And he was good.
Yeah.
He was good. He didn't unravel or anything.
I think he had a bomb too.
He might have. He might have. He was a different. I remember.
Yeah.
Speaking of Diaz, and he reminded me a lot of Jason. A lot.
Yeah.
Moved differently, fluent, ball jumped out of his hand. A good sized kid, good sized athlete. Had demeanor, had composure. But we got him a little bit.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong; those results did not change his project. I'm sure he went to a St. John's, BC, something like that. I wish I remember a little bit more about it, but all I remember is DP was just like, this is I just saw this.
Hold on camera.
That was just a really cool.
He's hacking. Don't worry.
Yeah,
holding the leadoff spot.
I never did it before. I had a really comfortable feeling.
Yeah.
And whoever was leading off for us, I think we let off Sheck a ton. I'm like, I'm not doing that against this kid. So, and I think DP came off of a couple really good games in Zona against kids throwing 88, 90, and he just saw it again. Why not?
All right, runner for my catcher. No,
that was not the worst thing I did. Yes. It wasn't the worst to get him off.
That's a nice little flex move.
Speed up rule in the first inning.
Yeah. Even if he wasn't catching, now he is doing. DP, you're catching. I gotta get you off the bases real quick. But so this is, as usual, man. This is another really good episode. It was awesome catching up with you and kind of going through, learning, kind of revisiting, learning some things about it. Good luck this year coming up. We're all excited. We're gonna be following you. Pressure's on, man. All region. I need more than that this year.
Don't worry.
Yeah, don't let your teammates down in the playoffs. I don't know how you did, in particular in the playoffs, but
need another ring.
Yeah, you do. You need something for your squad. So.
Awesome. Thanks,
Wiz behind the camera as always, baby.
Good job, Wiz.
It's episode 5, right? 5.
Episode 5 in the books.
We'll be back, baby. We'll be
Coach
back.
Chris, baby.